What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Hope you're all having a great weekend week so far. Today's Wednesday, October 12th. It is 6 o'clock in the evening right now. Today's video is going to be talking about breaking down actually our Buckeye property, which is the Eviction property that we haven't talked about in a while. And I just wanted to conclude this entire house, talk about the finish line on this project and the profits that we made on it. Unfortunately, this was supposed to be one of our best cash on cash returns and just our best overall profit property that we've ever purchased before. It didn't end up turning into that though, unfortunately, with the market slip, how fast the market has slipped, and the process that we had to go through with the tenant or the squatter that was in the property. Just unfortunately, we lost quite a bit of profit. So we're going to break it down for you guys. Here's the sheet that I always use for every single one of our properties. This is like pretty much a copy and paste of how I break our every single one of our flips down. I will start up here. I will have the address, which I obviously blanked out. I will do the purchase date. Purchase date comes in the handy for just more data for properties that we can track. So how long the property took us to renovate, how long it took us to sell, all that really helps. So I like to have the date that we purchased it, so it just gives us more timeline. The purchase price, and then also the total cash to close. So these are two different things. The purchase price is what we actually agree with the seller on what we're going to buy the property for. The total cash to close is always going to be higher than the purchase price, just from closing costs on the buy end. Total cash to close on this one was $3,534. I basically just subtracted total cash to close by the purchase price. Renovation budget on this one, we actually set it lower at the very beginning, but the property as it was lived in, once we bought it from the squatters, it got more and more destructive as the time went on. So by the time we actually got into the property, we set a budget of about $60,000. We went over that, which you guys will see shortly. I'll tell you why. And then we had an ARV, which is an after renovation value. This is a very important number as well. What allows you, basically your ARV, your renovation budget, and then your whatever profit margins you want will help you dictate what you're going to offer on the property. So we did ARV minus renovation budget, so it gave us $390,000, and then whatever we want as profit on this. This specific property, we actually basically gave the buyer or the seller what they wanted for the property, so that's why that spread is significantly bigger than what our normal margin spreads are. Like if we just took in our normal spread from 450 minus 60, that basically gives us a price of $390,000. We then take into consideration closing costs on the buy and the sell end, which for a $450,000 house, we'll just say is like 8%. 7 to 8% conservatively, so that's another $30,000. So 360 would be essentially our break even at this point, but then we consider what we want for profit. Our profit margins, we're going to want at least 10% of what we invest in the property. So another $50,000, that would put us at about $300,000 purchase price. But the seller actually wanted $250,000, and she came to us first. That's why it's always important. You always try to be the second person to give out a number. Always try to get the seller to say a number first and then work your way from there. Because if we had said our number, that's $50,000 over what she would have said. So we let her talk. We let her kind of express what she wanted. Some of the benefits that she wanted from us, how fast we can close was her biggest incentive. And also the fact that we would take the tenants in place. It was a stress-free close for her, and she knew she was getting an under market value offer. But for those reasons, we let her talk. 250. We're like, how about 245? We'll do 245. And she's ended up being like, sure, if you can close in 10 days. So we started at 250. We ended up getting another $5,000 out of it. But we did have a finder's fee. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll run through this really quickly, guys. We had some eviction. We had to pay one of our guys to actually go and put a certified letter on the door of the property. So it was actually, we can start the eviction process. So we paid our guys $50 to go do that. Lawyer fees was $1,564, which we actually had sued for. On top of getting the tenants out of the place, we sued for lost rent. We sued for lawyer fees, but obviously we didn't get any of that. So technically the squatters still owe us about $10,000. We paid for the lawyer fees. Security, I believe this was security cameras. We got 2 security cameras with Wi-Fi, all that. We paid for a dumpster for all the trash removal itself, hiring out to do that. We had to pay some of our guys to take very extra care so they didn't get pricked with a needle or anything like that. We had demo, exterior paint, Home Depot materials. By the way, at Home Depot, we spent almost $100,000 this year. We get a lot of our fixtures from Amazon, whether it be ceiling fans, light fixtures, cabinet handles, door handles, all that kind of stuff we get from Amazon. And then the other stuff like toilets, tile, backsplash, we get from Floor & Decor or Home Depot. Here's a look. We spent some money on landscaping, roof repairs. So the reason why we went over budget on this, you guys will see, was $69,000 right here, is because we had to do a lot of repairs for the actual inspection. The buyers nowadays are getting a lot more picky, and they know they can get away with a lot more requests. So we had to fix the AC unit, which was a total of $4,700. We replaced a entire sliding door, which was glass replacement right here, $1,700. Binzer is buyer inspection report. So basically what I refer to by Binzer is any inspection repairs, which is just like handyman labor. Some small stuff was $474. So now if you come down here to holding costs, one unique thing about how Ricky and I work is, since the money that we use to buy these properties is all internally funded within our business, we don't have interest or hard money loans that we have to pay. So if you guys are going to flip houses, take that into consideration. Most likely you're probably going to get about an 8 to 10% hard money loan on the span of your loan. So that's about, give or take, almost 0.8% a month on the money that you're borrowing. So you really want to keep that in mind if you plan on holding this property for 60 to 90 days. That's almost 3% of what you got the loan for. We don't have that, so it saves us a little bit of money when we hold these properties much longer. Because if we had a hard money loan on this property for 218 days, that would have eaten up into a lot of our profit. So we're really fortunate that we can float properties like this. And it also gives us a lot of leverage too, because if a hard money, someone that didn't have cash available and they had to get a hard money loan on the property, but they knew that it was occupied and it was going to be a pain in the ass to get the occupant or the squatter out, a lot of these people wouldn't have taken on this project because they're like, no, like it's going to take too long to get this squatter out, too much uncertainty on if he'll win the lawsuit. Then you're stuck with this guy in the property that you have a hard money loan on at 0.8% a month. That will absolutely drain you. We come down here to total expenses. So we spent $69,000 on renovations, another $3,125 in holding costs like insurance, water, trash, electric. This is all much more expensive than normal because we held this property for so long. Purchase price $248. Closing costs sell-in was $21,790. This property sat on the market for a long time, and Buckeye got hit extremely hard. We planned on listing it originally for $450, like I said, when we bought it back in February. We then listed it once we actually got around to listing it in July, I want to say, maybe early August. We actually listed it for $25K less than what we planned on it, and we had no traction whatsoever. We had maybe 1 or 2 showings. We then immediately price dropped it to $415, I think. Still no traction at $415. So we're like, this is crazy. Like, we were originally planning on doing $450 all day. We then dropped it down to $400,000, and that's when we started getting some traction. That's when we got this offer in at $390,000. And we also had to pay for some seller concessions on it, so that's why closing costs are a little bit higher. And we made a total profit of $46,985. But if you guys will see, let me see if you guys can see this over here. Right here. So yeah, we had a finder's fee on this. The person that actually sourced us the deal, we offered them 10% profit share. So we actually, out of the $46,000, we had to pay them almost $5,000 for the finder's fee on it. And that left us with about $42,000 profit, which seems like a lot, but for the risk that we had and for how long we held the property, it was only about $215 a day, which daily profit per day is a very important statistic when you go and look back at how successful a property was, because it doesn't take into consideration not only how much you made, but how long it took to make that money. And some of our best properties, we were doing about $1,000 a day. So if you guys want to compare our best properties to what we have here, 215, I mean, not horrible. But we planned on ripping, I mean, the original goal was to do about $125,000 profit on this, which I highly believe we could have done that if we actually had kicked the tenant out like we thought we would be able to. We thought it was just going to be purchase the property, give them a 5-day notice, and they would vacate. But they fought this property for 4 months long, and it just ate into our profits. So this guy not only cost us a couple months of work, but it was about a $90,000 swing from him just sitting in the property that much longer and causing that much more damage. So it was an expensive squatter. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. Lessons to take away from this video: if you guys are going in the flips, be sure you know what you're getting into. We had so much margin on this property that no matter the problem, like worst case scenario, which I say this is probably worst case scenario, we still came out on top. If we had bought this property with not enough margin, or the margin that we originally wanted, or that we were originally going to take, that $300K, we'd have been at negative. So we were very fortunate to still come out on top on this property. But thank you guys so much for watching. Video suggestions, comments down below. I do appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video.